Hello everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and I am itching to pull my series slasher cards, so despite the fact that it is 7:30 p.m., we're gonna get going on that. If you don't know what series slasher is, it is a game that I created in order to motivate myself to read more series, specifically more series continuations and finales, because I am really good at starting series, not so good at continuing and completing them. At the start of this year, I was in the middle of 64 series, and I have completed a few. I've continued quite a few. I've also started quite a few, so I'm not sure exactly where I stand right now, but it's still not looking great. So I made this game to get me to read more from the series I'm already reading, and it is themed after my love of slasher films. There are 4 different cards that I pull in order to figure out what I'll be reading for the game each month, and so I will just explain them to you as we pull them. So first up, of course, if it's a slasher, we have to have a killer. So the killer cards are these red ones right here, and they give me a parameter, something that all of the series that I continue for this round have in common. So they are things like genres, age ranges, general vibes, stuff like that. So I did already shuffle it, which these cards are quite hard to shuffle because they're just pieces of cardstock that I ripped apart and wrote on with Sharpie. But we'll give it another little shuffle and spread them out as best as I can, which is not very well, as you can see. And let's go with this killer. We have pulled 3 different killers so far, so if I consult my notes, January we pulled the Demon Unleashed and gave him 1 wound. In February, we had the Alien Invader, which we dealt 3 wounds, defeating them, so we will not be pulling the Alien Invader again. And then last month in March, which technically it's still this month, we're only about halfway through March, but I'm already looking ahead to planning my April reading, so it's fine. But we pulled the Possessed Doll and dealt 2 wounds, so that is still a possibility. Let's see what this card is. And we have the Childhood Best Friend. Ooh, this one is interesting. So, the Childhood Best Friend, it says a reread on there. I'm stupid. It was supposed to say all rereads, and I just wrote it wrong. But yeah, all of the series that I am continuing for this round have to be rereads. I can think of a couple right off the bat that I am in the middle of rereading, and a couple of series that I've wanted to start a reread of, which if okay, I'm getting all of my rules out of order here, but I'll explain it in a second. But restarting a series that I've already read does not have the same consequences for this game as starting a new series. So that ties into our next set of cards, which is this stack right here. There's a motorcycle going down my street, alright. But these yellow cards, these are our heroes, the people who are fighting against the killer. So, I will pull 3 of these, and they will give me specific prompts to find books that will fit the parameter of the killer. So, whatever prompts I have to fulfill here also have to be series that I'm rereading. Normally, if I have to start a series in order to fulfill the prompt, that hero then has a noble sacrifice and they cannot be pulled for future rounds, but because they are rereads in this instance, if I do have to start a new series, it will not count because I've already read them before, so it's not technically starting a new series. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, we have not yet had a noble sacrifice, but I guess, no, we won't have one this time, so we're playing it a little bit safe. There are many more cards in this deck than any of the other decks, so many possibilities here. Let's fan it out, but actually, I also think I just want to pull this one from the top because I never pull from the top. So our first hero is The Outcast, a book you can never manage to fit on a TBR. Okay, interesting. Our second hero is going to be, let's go with this one, the Psychic, which we did pull in March. So the Psychic is making a comeback. They get to be in a second slasher, I guess. And this is series you're most looking forward to continue. I do have a couple of those in terms of rereads, so that's great. And then let's pull from closer to the bottom for this next and final hero card. Let's go with this one. And it is, ooh, The Jock. So The Jock is a book that is 500 plus pages. I do have one in mind that potentially would work. I'm actually not positive that it is 500 plus pages, but it very well might be. It's going to be cutting it close. Okay. Interesting. Much to ponder. Anyway, we will worry about that later on, and I will tell you about what books I end up picking when I actually go to read them in April. So it'll be a couple of weeks for me, but seconds for you because it will be part of this vlog. But the other two types of cards that we have are locations and weapons, and these are optional challenges. The locations have to do with the books I'm reading. The weapons are bookish prompts, but don't tie specifically to my reading for this vlog. And if I complete a location or a weapon, then they would each deal a wound to the killer. The other way to deal wounds to the killer are if my heroes, the book that I read for that prompt is the final book in a series. You can tell it's late at night because it's taking me so much longer to process the thoughts that I'm having. Yeah, let's pull our location next. We'll see what our reading challenge is. Shuffling is not going to go well. I don't know why I keep doing it. We will go with this one. And so this is taking place at the school. Set up a time schedule for when you can read each book. Okay, this is inspired by Allison from Allison on a Book Break. She does this for the Magical Readathon each year, well, really each iteration because it happens multiple times a year, where she assigns different times and days of the week to each book, and she can only read that book during those times on those days. So definitely one of the harder challenges, but I think that could be fun depending on which books I end up picking. We'll see. Lastly, our weapon. What are our heroes using to fight the childhood best friend? Ooh, I also don't know which of the heroes is this childhood best friend, like, the best friend of. So, the outcast, the psychic, or the jock. One of their childhood best friends is the killer. Wonder which would make the most interesting story. But we have our weapons, and let's go with this one. We have the chain. Make a bookish social media post. Easy. I can do that. Easy peasy. I say that, but watch me not end up doing it. So yeah, these are our prompts and challenges and parameters. I will do some thinking over the next couple of weeks and see you in April to do some actual reading. Okay, hopefully third time's the charm with trying to film this clip because the first two times did not pan out. It is April 5th. I'm gonna start reading for this vlog, so I'm here to tell you what I'll be reading. First though, I need to let you know that I have decided I will not be fulfilling the location prompt for this month. The location prompt that I pulled, of course, being the school, which is to set up a time schedule for when I could read each book. That's just not happening this week because I'm going to be super busy with work. I am working the next 6 days. It is currently Sunday, so I'm working Monday through Saturday because we just are a little bit short-staffed in the manager department this week. A lot of our managers are seniors in high school, and senior events are starting to happen. So I am picking up a little bit of the slack there. It's going to be beautiful out, which means we're going to be super duper busy at the ice cream shop. On top of that, we have a lot of new people starting this week, and I have to focus on training. So that will be a little bit extra energy sapping, I feel. So I figured this would be a great week to do some comfort rereading, not a great week to try and do a little bit more gamifying of that reading. So I will be doing this vlog, just not doing that challenge. That is fine. That just means that's not a wound I will be dealing to our killer. But the book that I will be starting with is the book for The Outcast. And that prompt, if you recall from probably like 20 seconds ago for you, but many weeks for me, The Outcast is a book that you can never manage to fit on your TBR. This is a book that I feel like fits a lot of prompts for my various TBR games or like reading challenges and readathons that I do. I just tend to prioritize picking books that I have not yet read for those prompts instead of picking this book, even though I have wanted to reread it for like the past year. So it's bending the prompt a little bit, but I still think that it fits. But the book I will be starting with is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I read this towards the end of 2024 and absolutely loved it. Read the sequel, Ruthless Vows, towards the beginning of 2025 and still absolutely loved that one as well. And I would like to reread the second book in the duology. That just won't happen in this vlog. Hopefully it will happen sooner rather than later. But I absolutely adore this book and the series, so I'm very happy to be rereading this one. Finally, I do have the audiobook checked out from Libby because, as is well established on my channel, I love to listen to an audiobook while I read along physically. That's probably my favorite way to read. But yeah, we are starting off with, I think, the shortest book out of the three. I'm a little bit scared for my jock prompt because that is a book over 500 pages, and the book that I've picked is only barely over 500 pages, but that's still very long. And this video is supposed to go up a week from tomorrow, so I have, if we include today, 8 days to read these books to get that up on time. We're gonna hope that I can get that done. It will probably mean that 99% of my time outside of work is going to be spent reading, which, like, I'm not mad about. I love reading. I'm just cutting it a little close here, I think, but I will start this off tonight and update you as I read it with my rereading thoughts. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. So I will see you once I've gotten a good ways into Divine Rivals. Hello friends, it is just about 9:30 p.m. on Monday. I'm very tired, but I am 100 pages into Divine Rivals. I have finished part 1. Look at this cute design on the cover with the typewriter. It says Dear Iris. Love that. Anyway, I finished part 1, and I'm so sad. This book starts off so sad, which I knew, obviously, having read and loved this before, but it deals a lot with grief and loss and guilt, and it just really hits hard. So I'm very sad, but I'm still really enjoying it. Rebecca Ross just has such a beautifully engaging writing style that I just instantly feel sucked into the world. And despite the fact that it is very sad, like our main character is very poor, she's dealing with a lot of family issues. You know, her brother is off fighting in this war, her mother is dealing with alcoholism, and it's all this stuff going on. It still feels cozy in a sense. So yeah, I'm very much enjoying my reread so far. Not sure how I feel about the audiobook. There are 2 narrators, one for Iris and one for Roman, our male main character. 90% of this book is from Iris's point of view. Maybe not 90, maybe like 65 to 75% of this book is from Iris's point of view, and much less is from Roman's point of view, but he still has some POV scenes, and also the letters, the correspondence between the two of them, whichever one wrote that letter it's in their narrator's voice. And I don't know, they just don't mesh well together for me. Each one on their own is fine, but in like the switch over between scenes, or when we're in like one person's POV but they get a letter from the other person so it switches to the other narrator, it's just so jarring to me. And maybe I'll get used to it. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to audiobooks with multiple narrators, but I don't know. Not loving the audiobook, but I'm still going to keep listening to it while I read because it does help me feel a little bit more entrenched in the world. Oh boy, I am so tired. Work was slower today than expected. The weather was supposed to be super nice this week, but now looking at it, it's only going to be in like the 50s, so hopefully things will be slower and less chaotic than I thought it would be. But who knows? So, yeah, it's only 9:30. I think I might get myself a little snack and then get back to reading this for another good chunk of the night, because I usually go to bed at like 10:30. So I think I can crack on and make some good progress in this and maybe finish it tomorrow. That would be pretty good because I still have two other books to read for this vlog, as I've mentioned, and quite a tight deadline for it. But yeah, we'll see. I I guess I'll give you an update in a part 2. That would make sense. So I'll see you then. I just realized that I'm wearing the same sweatshirt as I was wearing in yesterday's update, but that is fine. It is 8:15 p.m. on Tuesday, and I finished part 2 of Divine Rivals, so I'm now a little over 200 pages in. I think it's like 207 pages or something, and I'm still loving this, of course. I'm so emotional reading this, specifically the scene where Iris and Roman are reunited. Oh, it's so tense and dramatic, and like you can really like feel what the characters are feeling. It's so well written. Rebecca Ross is just like a wizard when it comes to her books. Like, she's such a fantastic writer. I still have one more book of hers that I have not read. It is Sisters of Sword and Song, I think is what it's called. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest fan of every single Rebecca Ross book. I think her debut duology is well written, but the story itself is a little bit bland. But like, she's just an amazing writer, and just the way her like emotions come through is so well crafted. But yeah, I've got a little over 100 pages left. How long is this book? 300 and something pages. 353. So I've got about 140-ish pages left to go. So this last part is longer than the rest. But yeah. I don't think I'm going to finish it tonight, but I definitely will keep reading. I know I said yesterday I was going to keep reading. I did not read anything after that update. Instead, I went and I watched my boyfriend play video games, specifically Slay the Spire 2. I have been very into that video game, not playing it myself because I don't have that kind of money, but like watching people online play it, watching my boyfriend play it. I think it's a very entertaining game to watch, especially with people's commentary. Anyway, I was doing that instead of reading last night before bed. But I will actually do more reading tonight because my boyfriend is out on a bike ride. I am getting a little tired, as you can tell. So I think I'm gonna make a cup of tea to kind of like keep myself awake and myself a little bit of caffeine, but not too much that it'll like mess with my sleep. Not that I have a great sleep pattern anyway, but that is neither here nor there. One last update. I have decided that I'm accepting the fact that this vlog will not be ready for this next Monday. I just do not have the time to finish this book and then read 2 more, especially because one of them is over 500 pages. So instead, I've got like a short vlog idea planned. It's basically just gonna be me doing bookish things. So I will film that Thursday, so that'll be ready. Oh my god, I have the hiccups, I've been talking too much. So that'll be ready for this upcoming Monday, so that I will have an extra week to read the books for this vlog. I think that's just the best decision for this instance. So I don't have to feel stressed about finishing this book and the others, but I still will keep reading it tonight because I really want to keep reading it. But yes, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna make some tea, and maybe I'll watch like one YouTube video and then get back into reading. Tomorrow, of course, I have work again. As I've explained, I have worked 6 days in a row. Oh my goodness. I really need to stop talking. Tomorrow is a longer day. I'm working 11 to 6 instead of 11 to 5. So we'll see how that goes. But I will update you at some point when I have finished my reread of Divine Rivals. Hello friends, it is Wednesday morning and I do have to get ready for work soon, but I want to update you that I finished Divine Rivals and I'm very upset. I purposefully stopped reading with 3 chapters and the epilogue left last night because I wanted to end on a happy note before I went to bed, and I knew that the last few chapters are going to be absolutely devastating. And so of course I listened to / read them right before going to work, so now I get to be sad at work thinking about this book. All I want is to read the second book, which, like, I could, but we're gonna stick with my original plan for which books I was gonna read for each prompt. Why are so many cars going by now that I'm filming? That's so rude of them, but I literally only have a few minutes before I have to get ready for work, so I have to film this update now. But yeah, I had a fantastic time reading this. It broke me so bad. And I want to read the second one, but I can't right now, but hopefully soon. If you have not read this book, I could not, like, be stronger in my conviction that you should. I want to shout it from the rooftops that everyone should read this because it's so well crafted, it's so emotional, it just hits so hard, and I loved it. The world building, not like necessarily the world, but just like the vibe and aesthetic of the world reminds me a lot of A Winter's Promise by Christelle Davos, which is weird. But I think I also had that thought the first time I read it, now that I'm saying it out loud. But it's making me want to reread that series too, but I don't have time for that. It's a 4-book series, and those books are quite thick. But I will want to reread those eventually, but maybe after I read the second one of this, and I finish my other rereads, and also the books that I've never read before that I want to read. Anyway, I'm rambling. First book of the vlog done, and it was fantastic, of course. For the second book I'll be reading, I have decided that I just need to bite the bullet and read my 500 plus page book, my pick for the jock hero, and that is Blood Promise by Rochelle Mead, the 4th book in the Vampire Academy series. It is, if I go past the bonus chapter at the end from the next book, 503 pages. So, definitely could have been worse, could have been much longer, but it fits the prompt. My copy is very, like, smudged and old. I found books 2 through 6 in a little free library many months ago, so those are the copies that I have. So yeah, I guess after work I will crack into this. Let me put my bookmark in it. There's a prologue. Wow, this font is huge. Like, that's crazy. This will go fast. I assume because of that. And plus, it's just like a quick read, at least the first three ones, where I have not read this series since high school. So I started my reread like a year and a half ago, and I've read like one book every 6 months, just about. So we're on to book 4, Blood Promise. I don't know what happens in this one, and there's no blurb on the back. So yeah, we're going into this not remembering anything that happens, but it's fine. I'm excited. This is one of those series where I don't really take it too seriously. I'm kind of just along for a fun time, a dramatic time. And I'm looking forward to that after the emotional devastation of Divine Rivals. So, yeah, I have work until 6 tonight, and then I'll come home. I'll get some other stuff done that's on my to-do list, and then I'll crack into this bad boy. And I'll see you when I have an update. Hello, friends. As you can tell from this horrible lighting, it is very late. It is just about 10 p.m. on Friday, so it's been a minute since I updated you, but I'm halfway through Blood Promise. You can see my bookmark there. There's a bunch of back matter, so it doesn't look like I'm halfway through, but I am. And it does not need to be this long. Literally 250 pages in, and there hasn't been a lot happening. It's some good like world building and like little information drops. We've met Sydney, who is the main character of the spin-off series, and learned about the alchemist and all that. Rose is in Siberia now. But like that's it. 250 pages of just a lot of talking and like one action scene. So, yeah, that's why it's kind of taken me this long to get this far, even though it is quite fast paced for what it is, anyway. But yeah, I really want to be done with this book. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, it's just that I know there are books out there that I will enjoy much more. So, hopefully I can get this done by Sunday night, perhaps. I do have work tomorrow. I work from 10 to 5, which is an hour earlier than my usual shift. Usually I work 11 to 5, but on Saturdays we clean out the surfing freezers, so we have to get there an hour early. Usually it's not me. I've only done this shift once before, but the person who usually does Saturday mornings has some school stuff that she's attending, so I have the shift. And it's my 6th day of work in a row, and I'm so tired. But I get out at 5, and then I have nothing going on the rest of the night, and I'm off on Sunday. I maybe have tentative plans with a friend to just run errands together, but that is yet to be seen. My boyfriend is away for the weekend, so I'm not going to be hanging out with him. I should have plenty of time to break into this and finish it up. So, that's my plan. I guess I'll just see you when I finish this bad boy up, be it Sunday or another day. But yeah, I'll see you then. Good morning, friends. Happy Sunday. It is just past 9 a.m. and I have finished Blood Promise. I did quite a bit of reading last night, and then I had about 50 pages left to read this morning, and I just finished that, so that's why I'm here to let you know. I do think this book was a tad bit too long for what it was. I feel like the pacing was just a little bit off in this one. Like, it was still fast paced, but there were stretches where it felt like not a lot of actual story was happening, and I feel like it could have been trimmed down a little bit. I still think it would be a chunky book, even with that trimming down. But yeah, it was definitely a little bit longer than it needed to be. But I still had a really good time reading it. I am feeling the exact same way as I was about Divine Rivals, where I'm like, I want to pick up the next book immediately, but I can't do that. More so for this than for Divine Rivals, actually, because I know Ruthless Vows is going to emotionally destroy me, whereas, what's book 5? Spirit Bound? Spirit Bound is just going to be another dramatic fun time. But yeah, this book is where we got the bridge scene, which I did record my reactions for you guys, but I read this series for the first time when I was in high school. I don't remember exactly when in high school, but sometime between late 2012 and early 2016, so more than a decade ago. So I had read it, but the only scene out of the entire 6-book series that I remembered when I first started my reread of the series was the bridge scene that we get in this book. And so got to it, and I was like on the edge of my seat. So good, so dramatic. And then the ending, we do get that little bit of a cliffhanger, and I'm like, I want to pick up Spirit Bound. Spirit Bound? Yeah, I literally just said it out loud. Why did I already forget what it's called? Spirit Bound. So bad. But alas, I cannot. I will, however, pick up my third and final book for this vlog, and that is for The Psychic, which is the series I'm most looking forward to continuing. And the book I'll be reading is The Royal Ranger by John Flanagan. Technically, this edition, it is the 12th book in the Ranger's Apprentice series, but it was later republished as the first book in a sequel series. So, if you don't know anything about Ranger's Apprentice, it is a very long series. There are 10 books and then a short story collection, and then this was the 12th book because the short story collection is considered book 11. But it follows this boy named Will. He becomes apprenticed to the local ranger, hence Ranger's Apprentice, and he goes on adventures. About halfway through the series, he becomes a full-fledged ranger himself, and then in this book, we see him take on his own apprentice, and that was why it was then republished to be like a sequel series instead of the conclusion of the first one, because it really did kind of like open up a new world. So the reprint, it is the series called The Royal Ranger, and then I believe this book is called like A New Beginning or something like that. But I am so excited to read this. Ranger's Apprentice has been one of my favorite series since I was like 10 years old, and I'm now 27. So it's been in my life for a very long time. I've reread it many, many times, and I just never continued on with the sequel series, even though I've read the prequel duology, I've read the spin-off series, although that I also took a long time to get to. I read the first few in the Brother Band Chronicles when they came out, and then the rest I only read 3 years ago, maybe, I think is when I finally got around to reading those. But now the time has come for The Royal Ranger. I'm going to read this, and then eventually continue on with the series, hopefully sooner rather than later. I think there are 7 books total at this point in time, with, like, no word on if there'll be more, but also no word that it's absolutely finished, so we'll see. This is a little bit chunkier than I remember it being. This is preview for the next one. 455 books, okay, not bad. And the font is a manageable size, even though the margins are very tiny. But yeah, I'm actually gonna go out with a friend very soon, so I should probably get dressed. I'm still in my pajamas. But my friend and I are gonna run errands together this morning. Then I'm gonna do some chores when I get home. I've got some dishes to wash, that sort of thing. But after that, I will be getting into this today. I'm so excited. Oh, this series really feels like coming home to me, so I just can't wait to read this. I'm very glad that I saved it for the last book for this vlog, but I will see you when I've got an update on it. So it is still Sunday. It is about 9:15 p.m. and I was doing some reading of my book. I'm about 50 pages into The Royal Ranger, and I was like, let me look up the Ranger's Apprentice tag on Tumblr, see what people are saying about it, because it's a small fandom, but it's like surprisingly active for how old the series is. And I come to find out that John Flanagan passed away 2 months ago. And now I'm really freaking sad. Wow. Okay, this was very unexpected. I mean, like, I knew he was kind of getting up there in age. He was like in his 80s. But I didn't expect to find out this news through Tumblr 2 months after the fact. This is a series that I started reading when I was in 7th grade, so 2011, 2010. And essentially, my teacher, I had like my homeroom teacher, and then she also taught two of my other classes later on in the day, was very strict about what you could and could not do with your free time. And so she insisted that everyone bring a book with them every single day to have in case they finish their work early. And I was someone who always finished my work early, so I read through a lot of books. And at one point, I ran out of my own books to read, and I needed a book for school, didn't have time to go to the library or anything, and so I borrowed the first book from my brother and absolutely fell in love with it. Oh my god. And so, like, this is a series that's been with me for so long. And I think I mentioned earlier in my clip when I started this book where I was like, I know that there's 7 or 8 books, but I don't know if there's ever gonna be more. And like, I guess there's not gonna be more. I don't know. Maybe there was one in the works that will be published posthumously or something, but this is just not news that I expected or was ready to deal with. Especially, oh gosh, I didn't even think about. So this book opens up with Will, our main character from the Ranger's Apprentice series, grieving the loss of someone very close to him. And I'm not going to pretend that John Flanagan was someone very close to me. I never knew the man, he didn't know me, but still an important figure in my life. And that's just really hard to deal with. I think I just need to go to bed right now and not sit with this late at night, because nothing good ever happens when you stew in your emotions late at night. So I think that's the plan. Tomorrow I technically only have work from 11 to 5, but I'm gonna go in early to do cake training. I'm joining the cake department. I don't know, I've probably mentioned this already in this video. I feel like I say it in every single video, but I work at an ice cream shop and we sell ice cream cakes, and I will be joining the cake department, and tomorrow is my first day for training, so I'll be at work bright and early, 9 a.m. to do that. And I think giving myself a full day to process this will be helpful. I do still really, really, really want to read this book. I just don't know if now is the time. So, yeah, I am gonna go to bed and then go to work tomorrow, and I will come back tomorrow evening with my decision on whether or not I want to continue reading this right now or maybe I'll pick a different book to fulfill this prompt, because there are plenty of series that I am very much looking forward to continuing. Not sure how many are rereads though. Maybe I'll take a pass for this prompt. Normally for my game, if a hero prompt is not fulfilled for one reason or another, that hero makes a noble sacrifice. Oh my gosh, and saying that makes me really sad because of the character's death in this book. My hero would make a noble sacrifice against the killer, and that card would be essentially retired from the game, and I wouldn't be able to pull that hero card again until I reset the whole thing, presumably at the end of 2026. But I might, if I decide that I don't want to read this right this second, give myself a pass for circumstances. Yeah, not the turn I thought my night would take, but yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow when hopefully I am a little bit more composed. So, yeah. Okay, friends, it is Monday, almost 6 p.m. I am so tired. I worked 8.5 hours today because it's stuff with the other manager coming in. I had to stay a little late, so I trained on cakes for 2 hours this morning, and then I had 6.5 hours of serving, and I did not get to sit down at all. I was going to take a break when someone came in at 3:30, but then one of the people who opened with me wasn't feeling well, so I sent her home, and so there was not enough staff to keep the store running enough for me to take a break. So I'm very tired. Dinner is being made, so I figured I would take this moment to let you know that I have decided I will, in fact, DNF the Royal Ranger for now. It is not a permanent DNF. I do really want to read this and continue on with the series. Now is just not the time for my emotions to handle it. So, very sad, but I got 50 pages in. I'm going to soft DNF it. And because of those extenuating circumstances, I'm not going to count this as a noble sacrifice or whatever I was calling it for the psychic hero card. I'm still going to keep that card in the deck for now, unless of course they make a sacrifice in the future. But this is not that time. This is outside of my control why I'm putting this down. So yeah, quite sad, but I've got my emotions mostly in check now. I talked to a friend about it for a little while, and that made me feel better. So, yeah, quite a bummer note that we are ending this vlog on, but that's just how it is sometimes, I guess. I did not deal any wounds to the killer either, so that's a little bit embarrassing because I didn't finish any series. Okay, dog barking. I didn't finish any series. I didn't do my location challenge of the school where I would set up a time schedule. That's really annoying. But I also didn't do my weapon challenge. I completely forgot about that until just now, but my weapon challenge was to do a bookish social media post, which I thought would be really easy, but I just didn't do it, and now that I'm ending the vlog, I'm like out of time. So, yeah, the killer takes 0 wounds this round. Yikes. But it's okay, because they can come back, and we can just try again later. Yeah, for now, this is the end of the vlog. If you've enjoyed it, despite its ups and downs, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.